What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight. Okay. I'm assuming this is a group, I guess we'll go with that. Making their debut on the channel tonight. We have Senri Kawaguchi Triangle. Yes, indeed. How about that? Senri Kawaguchi Triangle making their debut on the channel. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbidi-bibbidi bop, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Home Gnome, and this is actually one of Home Gnome's 3 prioritized requests for the month of August for being a gold tier member on the Patreon page. So, here you go, Home Gnome. I hope you enjoy the show, man. Home Gnome wanted to see me react to this. It is Senri Kawaguchi Triangle with a song called Wupatki. Now, have I heard the song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard the song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a minute, hold it, I recognize I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This was posted by Senri Kawaguchi, okay? And the video has 527,000 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Wupatki, Senri Kawaguchi Triangle Live. Jazz Japan Award 2017. So we're gonna get some jazz here. All right. I'm all in favor of that. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
Wind up on those thumbs, jeez. Larry Graham all over again. Harmonics going, nice. Oh, bass is gonna take over from the looks of it. With the wah pedal.
Hold it. I don't want to pause. I really don't want to pause. That intro with the keyboard and the bass player doing a 6/8 5/8 pattern over what I believe the drummer was playing straight 4/4. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it lined up. I mean, it didn't line up every single time, obviously, but when it did line up, it sounded really tight. I don't know any of these cats. I don't know any of these three individuals. I have no idea who they are. But they are all very clearly talented. The drummer really doing a great job of keeping a solid beat and being aware of what's going on, and she adjusts her playing accordingly. For example, when the keyboardist had the little, I wouldn't really call that much of a solo. He had his little run before the bass player took over. She adjusted. She brought it down, right? But not too far down. Not as down as she brought it for when the bass player actually took over. Because she's aware that between the two instruments, the keyboard, being a more mid-range instrument, is going to be a little bit louder than the bass player is going to be. So she can adjust her playing so that when the keyboardist is doing his little solo run, she can still play with a little bit of volume. She doesn't have to come down as much as she needs to for when the bass player does. You'll see the difference. If you go back and watch, you'll hear it. You'll hear a significant difference between how loud she was playing and how aggressive she was playing when the keyboard player was doing his little solo run versus how much she brought it down when the bass player took over. Speaking of the bass player, I really dug what he did, man. I really do. And the reason is, you talk about a lot of variety. Showing off what a bass player can really do when given the chance. And he didn't stay too long on any one thing. Like, okay, he started out with the wah pedal, right? He came in with the wah pedal. And he wasn't using the wah pedal aggressively. He was being very subtle with it. Very subtle with the envelope. I bet he only moved, at most, he might have moved the wah pedal about halfway. I can't really imagine him doing much more than that because it wasn't very aggressive at all. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, off goes the wah pedal, and he comes in with this pop and slap riff. Man, he was winding up, wasn't he? I mean, he was merciless coming on with those slaps and thumps, man. The pops were nice. I like that. Coming out of the pop and slap section, he goes into a straight melodic solo line, which was really nice. A lot of playing around with the 5-6-1, 5-6-1, 5-6-1, 5-6-1, moving up, 5-6-1, 5-6-1, 5-6-1, 5-6-1, moving up again, 5-6-1, 5-6-1, moving down, 5-6-1, and then chromatically moving down with the same pattern, the same L pattern. I liked it. It was very tastefully done. Now I've dug everything the bass player did. That looks like we're gonna get an actual keyboard solo now. So let's see what the keyboardist can really do. We saw him do a little run, but now let's see. Hopefully he gets a full blown solo for like at least a minute, so we can really see what he can do.
Let's see if we're right about that. All right. Oh, there goes with the wheel. Very tasteful use of the pitch wheel. Ah! All right, tear it up, girl. Let's go. So she got a piccolo snare there too for a little bit. Those big wind-up. That's great. That's just showmanship right there. Didn't need to do it, but they did to put on a good show. Wow. Solid unison ending. I like that. Nice. Nice. Ah, of course, not in English. Ah. So that was their second song of the set. That's actually not bad. I was gonna say this sounds like a show opener or right after, and I'm glad to see I was right in my assumption. Wow. Okay. Let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Senri Kawaguchi Triangle with a tune called Wupatki. This was a request from Home Gnome, and this was actually one of Home Gnome's 3 prioritized requests for the month of August for being a gold tier member on the Patreon page. So, there you go, Home Gnome. I hope you enjoyed the show, man. There really, believe it or not, there really is not a lot to talk about. There really isn't. I already covered pretty much everything during the course of the reaction that I can think of. So I'm just going to touch on a couple of things, maybe elaborate a little bit more, but we're going to make this probably a pretty short review. I don't know. I have to wait and see. You know how that goes with me. Let's start off with the score first. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that an 8.7. Yep, 8.7. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, an 8.7. What does that mean? Well, an 8.7 would translate to a great scale rating, so I think it's a great, I think it was a great performance and a great song. It would also translate to 4 to 5 stars and an A letter grade. So there you go, an 8.7, great scale rating, 4 to 5 stars, and an A letter grade. Now, how did I come up with this score? So glad you asked. Okay, this is not my first time having jazz on the channel. There have been a number of jazz acts I've seen on the channel. I know the Jazz Avengers, I've become a big fan of theirs. I'm really hoping that we get some more reactions to them. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go get their discography. So, we'll see how that turns out. this was interesting because okay, first of all, we had a trio. Whenever you have a jazz trio, it's going to be a little bit tougher to get a full sound out of a trio versus a quintet or a sextet or or an octet or whatever formation you have. Having a jazz trio is always going to be a little bit of a challenge to keep that full sound, and that's really going to come down to, more than anything, that's going to come down to the keyboardist, reinforced and backed up by the bass player. But remember, the bass player's main job is to, well, with in-ears now, everybody has click going, so tempo really isn't the main job of the bass player anymore. It used to be, but the bass player's new job now with the in-ears and the click really is to keep the bottom end full. So it's really going to be up to the mid-range instrument, which in this case is the keyboard, to really kind of fill out the sound and keep it full. And you could see that happening, in particular when the keyboardist took his solo. He had his keyboard very clearly split in two. Left hand keeping more of a fuller sounding patch, while the right hand had a little more of a synth patch, so that he could keep the full sound going with the left hand chords, while the right hand could do the solo. And what I found really interesting was when he would have that split, how active his left hand was in comparison to his right. The right hand would do a lot more sustaining of notes, while the left hand was far more active and with the left hand, but playing chords, not playing single notes. And he would have his left hand going a lot more actively than the right hand, which would hit a note and sustain it, and then move and sustain, move and sustain. You know, it was interesting to see that little bit of a paradigm shift. Usually it's the other way around. Usually it's the left hand doing all the sustains, while the right hand is way more active. So it was nice seeing that little shift, actually. That's something you don't see very often. I also want to give a big shout out to the keyboard player. The usage of the pitch wheel. Now, I know the pitch wheel is a fun toy. It's a fun thing to play with. It really is. But a lot of times keyboardists take it too far. I'm going to use Derek Sherinian as a perfect example. I like the fact that he utilizes it. Don't get me wrong, it sounds interesting when he does. But he has a tendency to take it way too far. I'm not just talking a little bit too far. No. I'm talking miles too far. So to see a keyboard player who really understands what the purpose of a pitch wheel is, and to use it in an appropriate way, and more importantly, in a tasteful way, I really appreciated that. So just wanted to give him a quick little shout out there. Let's talk about the bass player, shall we?
Yes! Jesus H. Goddamn Christ!
A lot of fun to watch him play. Very active, very showmanship wise. I gotta say he was definitely visually, I think he was the most entertaining person to watch. A lot of movement and motion. You could tell he was really getting into the song. I talked about his solo already. I like the usage of the wah pedal and the controlled usage of it. His popping and slapping, man. Winding up with those thumps, man. I'm not talking this. I'm talking pow, pow, like that. Like he was beating that thing. And then the pops afterwards were nice. I really loved it when he was playing with his fingers. He's finger playing, right? He's just doing your basic fingering. And then there was this one section, it was about 2/3 of the way through the song, where he wound up big and came back and hit twice, just single notes. Now, I want to be clear, he was just fingering it. He was just a fingering note. But with that great big huge wind up, that was just more showmanship. And when you're as talented as he clearly is, you can do stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's perfectly fine. It was a lot of fun to watch him play, and his playing was absolutely immaculate. The drummer, man, tight playing, very tight playing. And what I liked about her most was the fact that she kept the focus on the skins. Yes, she would use the cymbals for color when it was tastefully and appropriately needed. But primarily, I would say about 2/3 of what she was playing was on the skins. And that goes not just for her solo, but that goes pretty much throughout her entire playing. She was really, I mean, yeah, she was using the ride. Yes, you know, you could hear the ride clear as day, but she would echo the ride pattern on the snare. So it wasn't just snare on 2 and 4. No, there was a lot of very subtle hits, just very like ghost. I wouldn't go as far as say ghost noting, but you know, she's just here she is on the ride, and here he is on the snare. Here she is on the snare, echoing the same pattern, ting ting da da, ting ting da da, ting ting da da, ting ting da 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 da. And it just got this nice little pattern. And every once in a while, you know, during the course of the measure, she would accent on a hit. I like on the and of 2, and I think on the and of 4 as well. So instead of being on the downbeat, she was on the upbeats. But echoing what she was doing with the snare, with the ride. I thought that was really cool. Her double kick work, immaculate, really nice. Her fill work, very nice. I dug everything about that. Couldn't help but notice, I believe she had a piccolo snare off to the side. I don't know why piccolo snares became a thing. Well, I know in the 90s, man, they were prominent in the 90s. In the world of jazz, they were extremely prominent. Like, if you were a drummer in a jazz band, it was pretty much expected. You better have a piccolo snare.
Beats the hell out of me.
I remember in the 90s, they were a big thing. I don't know if they're still a big thing or not. In any case, no, this was a great job overall, man. It really was. The song was cooking. I love that intro with the bass player and the keyboard player doing that 6-8-5-8 pattern against the drummer. I believe was doing straight 4/4. It wouldn't always line up, but when it did, man, it felt good. It really did. So yeah, I think they did a great job overall. I really do, and I have absolutely no problem giving them the great score of 8.7. That song cooked. It absolutely cooked, and I have no problem giving that score of 8.7. I will absolutely listen to this again. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We got an 8.7, which is a great skill rating, 4 to 5 stars, and an A letter grade. Take your pick. I don't care. Whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, that did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.